Then the game skips to 1 year later and we get to meet Shulk, who I already knew about because of my thirst and Super Smash Bros. Seriously, who wears tight swimwear. Today on the show we're going to be talking about the possible new rival for Marvel and DC, Zagtoon Heroez. On the 11th of July 2016, Zagtoon Heroez officially announced their new hero, Pixie Girl, and in turn by doing this, they have confirmed that they're going ahead with building an expanded superhero universe primarily set in Europe, which is a huge deal. They're doing several things with this cartoon that Marvel and DC have a hard time doing in their comics. Number one, they're creating a second cartoon that stars a female primarily. We don't know if there's going to be a male side character, like in Ladybug, she had Cat Noir. American comics are primarily for an American audience. It makes sense for them to be set in the States because that's who they're being written for, and it's also who they're mostly being written by. But Zagtoon is a European company, so it makes sense for them to want to write their characters and comics in Europe. It's also worth mentioning that Miraculous Ladybug got a spin-off comic, so naturally I expect Pixie Girl will be getting her own spin-off comic should she be successful in the cartoon. For a long time now, Marvel and DC have been considered the big two in superhero comics. They are just the two comic book companies that everyone adores for superheroes, and they don't do much outside of what's set in the United States, which again is fine, but due to this there isn't much cultural relation for European and foreign readers, and because of that some countries just don't stock comics, which is such a huge shame. With Zagtoon being successful, I'm not like, yeah, Europe is proving they're better than American comics. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever. I'm saying that I'm so happy that there's a European comic and cartoon company to be rivals Marvel and DC to promote comic book reading in Europe and in the rest of the world. We don't know much about Pixie Girl herself. We think that she might look like this girl from the Quantic Kids image, but that was made a few years ago, so it was probably greatly adjusted since then. For example, Ladybug and Chat Noir obviously are in this image, but Chat Noir was Felix back then, and Felix has since been turned into Adrien, and Adrien is a totally different character. People have come up with a theory that Pixie Girl could be set in London, just because the whole Ladybugs being good luck and Black Cats being bad luck sort of myth comes from Paris. Pixies come from the UK. And I don't mean fae and fairies in general come from the UK, that's like a much older myth, but pixies specifically do come from the UK. And because of that, she could have so many villains to fight. She could fight Spring-Heeled Jack. I would love to see a Spring-Heeled Jack in that series. For all of you that don't know, a Spring-Heeled Jack was a type of monster that would jump from rooftop to rooftop and then snatch up children from their windows at night who were like crying or they left their windows open. She could fight banshees. She could go into Celtic mythology. Like, there is so many things you could do by setting a superhero character in the UK that's loosely based off of myths from the UK. Honestly, I don't even care what she looks like. As soon as I see her face and what her costume looks like, I'm gonna do a gender-bent Pixie Girl cosplay. Overall, I'm excited to see that there's a bit of competition coming out of the woodwork from a place that no one expected. Like, if you told me 5 years ago that Marvel and DC's biggest competition in terms of superhero comics in Europe was gonna come from Paris, I would have just kind of been like, pshaw, because obviously London has Marvel UK. I would have expected them to do something with superhero comics, but they haven't. It's super effective! Okay guys, that is it for today. So what do you think of Marvel and DC having some competition from Europe? Do you think it's going to affect things negatively? Do you think it's going to affect things positively? Do you think the status quo is good how it is? Please leave it in the comments down below. And also don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more history videos. I am going to be making more history videos, 3 minor ones a month at about 10 minutes long, and 1 major one which will be 20 to 30 minutes long. And also don't forget to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and support the show by subscribing to my gaming channel because I'm making comedy gaming videos over there now. And also don't forget to follow me on Twitch. My name is Faust, this has been Exploring Comics, and it is super effective. That trailer made me scream the first time I saw it because it's so cool. It's so cool. That's one thing that I have never gotten from like a superhero anything, is just how cool they can be. Like, superheroes are cool in the comics, like, don't get me wrong. I scream all the time at comics at how cool heroes are. But when they're adapted into cartoons, for some reason, they just seem about 60% less cool. Pixie Girl has pink wings, she stood on the edge of a building, but because of the way it was done, it just was so cool. It also weirdly reminded me of Code Lyoko for some reason. Does anyone remember that show? Code Lyoko? It was set in Paris. Here we are going far to save all that we love. If we make it fast, we can make it through. Here we are going far. Shine bright on the world today. Make evil go away. Code Lyoko. Look, you guys asked for these outro cards. I didn't say they were gonna be good. I just promised you they'd be here. But yeah, Pixie Girl, really excited, 10 out of 10.